Disclaimer, warning, whatever. I'm not a pro Decaying Winter. Basically like that, okay? You know, I keep saying this in every video, but I really am not a pro at this game. I just like playing this game a lot. Welcome to yet another perk guide for Decaying Winter. Today, we'll be looking at the Resident ESP hacker, the Prophet. As usual, we'll be going over the pros and cons, the ability, trains equipment to usually run, and some gameplay tips for the perk. Let's get started, shall we? Starting off, we get loads of benefits. First being increased max health of 10, our total now being 110. We have faster movement speed, getting to places quicker to loot or reposition if actually needed. We have faster harvesting, which, if you don't know, it's the wooden rock piles placed on the map every night. When you hit those, it takes maybe like 3 or 4 hits depending on what melee weapon you use. However, the Prophet negates most of this, and it takes like 2 or 3 hits to get at least 2 scrap from it, which you will just harvest way faster and it's noticeable. Finally, you take no fall damage, so you can loot that big tower in like 10 seconds, fall, and be done. Though, keep in mind, even though you take no fall damage, you still get the effects of cripple, so maybe don't do that always, but it's still there. Though, we have some downsides, even though they're not really bad at all. It's increased in crafting cost, which is only applying to creating stuff from rocks like branches and whatever, such as the pavises, and not actually the crafted guns / melees. We also do less melee damage, so again, melee, doing less damage with melees. Woohoo. Overall, it's a really solid perk, but nothing is really standing out that excels at like doing something or anything besides maybe looting, which is fine for being in the support tier. The ability for the Prophet is the Savant Scanner. Upon pressing and holding F, you pull out this little gadget device thing. I'm sure it's probably just some weird program he just downloaded on probably Android, APK, whatever. All it does is scan nearby POIs for yourself. If you don't know what a POI is, it's basically just a point of interest. They are color coded for yellow being ammo, blue being interactable such as workbenches and lockers, purple for scrap piles, and green being pickups such as crew bandages or something along the sorts of that. Additionally, this will also scan any nearby enemy in a red health box, detailing how much they currently have. However, if you hold F and then press L and B, then you release a small AoE scan radius, which highlights everything I literally just said, but for your teammates. But this will stay for a small amount of time, maybe like a minute or so. If you activate the AoE, there is a small cooldown, well not small, it's fairly long, before you have to use it again, but you can still use the holding F mode at this time, so pretty much you're only scanning for yourself at that point. But you can still use it. Some traits to run is really largely dependent on what you want to do. Usually some would run methodical in this case, just because of the melee damage. But I really feel it's not necessary since you're more of a support and just help the team just mark enemies or whatnot. Personally, I ran professional, impatient, dependable to be even faster, take less damage overall, and have less recoil with guns, since that's probably more in line with the Prophet's damage output really. Equipment is really iffy here as well, but throwing knives are really viable with the Prophet personally, but you do you on that one. Now for some tips, but there's not really many I could throw out here. I did leave out some details before this, so I can put them here for more structure and technically to be used to your advantage, but again, there's not really much I can say here. First off though, if you want to speed loot, just quick fire and a sight hold of F, and just remember everything, boom, you're done like 4 or 5 seconds. Like that, it's just like a speed run for Minecraft, but you do it for Decaying Winter apparently. Alternatively, you can scan an area before you fully enter to get a whole view of loot in the area. So basically just use the AoE scan, and this can help an artillerist to find ammo, or you can just, you know, take everything else and scrap them all, and you get like what, 100 scrap at that point? Woohoo! Congratulations. Now, if you want to craft items such as pavises or whatnot, do keep in mind it's probably going to take about 30 to 40 scrap total to craft, up from the usual 15 to 20. So, scrapping other items is probably your best bet, but you can craft things faster since you break down piles quicker, basically. Be sure to share the scrap with your team too, since I'm sure they probably want to make something as well, and could probably up their utility more. But really, I know you don't want to hear all this. I know what you really want to hear. Let's say you use the AoE scan during the wave night, and you scan the enemies. Or you do it during looting phase. Well, they also get a debuff. What this debuff entails, I don't really know at all. There is some mixed confusion about, oh, they take more damage, they have less health. Again, there is a debuff. Some scavs can take one hit from a throwing knife with the scan debuff and be dead. Not all of them, just a few. So, a valid time to use this is not at the beginning of the wave, but maybe like mid-time when they all start funneling in more, so that way you get more scavs in the radius than you previously would have had, which makes your team see them and chunk them down like mincemeat. Also, FYI, you get like 25 XP per scan of an enemy, so there you go. Very easy to get that master if you want it. Now, again, for crafting stuff, a high kappa will serve you great. Maybe in a KFG if you want to shake it up a little, but any melee weapons is pretty much not ideal. There's not really much I can really say about the Prophet more than this. It's a support perk with a really good piece of utility meant for scouting, looting, marking enemies. The best way to play it really is just being a loot goblin, am I right? Also, just playing around with the Prophet can just help better your play in general. Again, it's a support class. There's not much you can really do with it besides scanning enemies and scanning loot. So, I mean, it's a fairly easy and simple perk to play.